I don't know about you, but this virus situation is messing with my head. I mean, this is heavy stuff, and it's just got me in a funky mood. I've kind of been there for far too long, really. Like many of us quarantine guitarists, I've turned to my usual therapy to, kind of help me feel a little bit more like me. And creating music over the last few days has really been helping. In this lesson, I'm going to share 5 steps to help you bring some music out of the guitar. Create your own little jam. We're talking about improvising and creating here, and we'll walk you through it in these 5 steps, not only to help you maybe fight the boredom of being quarantined and, stuck inside 4 walls, but also to help you maybe lift your spirits a little bit during these heavy times. Step 1, we're going to pick a chord and a scale to go with it. That dramatically cuts down on all the different note choices that you have on the fretboard. If you pick a chord, like we're going to pick E minor, and we're going to match it with a scale. We're usually playing blues here, so we're going to play the E minor blues scale. Then we're going to move on to the second step, which is to come up with a short 1-bar phrase or riff that we can repeat and just sort of kind of put it on loop over and over again. This is what I came up with. 2, 3, 1. Let's talk about this just so you can follow along, but I really want to encourage you to come up with your own little riff. But what we're doing here is starting this thing with this little tag that actually is occurring before our downbeat, before the 1 beat, which is, all right, so that's the open E, 6th string, and then the G, that's that minor 3rd, giving this that nice minor blues sound, then back open, and we're going to stick that octave on the 4th string, 2nd fret. That's an E. Then we chug with the shuffle thumb, just pumping. Then I'm reaching up to the 5th fret and playing this little mini riff, right? There's not a lot going on here, but it's a nice match, a nice pairing with this. Now you could, if you can't reach up and grab that 5th fret, you could use the open 4th string, same note. Next up, we want to expand on that riff that we just set up for ourselves. We know how to loop it, we know how to get in the groove. Now we're going to start altering it. And I really encourage you to do that on the fly. So keep looping it and then change a couple notes here or there. So you might come up with something like this. Alright, so you see that we really didn't change a lot as far as the notes that we were accessing. We just changed the order and just kind of generally felt our way through that. And you'll come up with something different on your guitar, and it can be as simple as just changing up a couple of notes. So don't let this part scare you. I really want you to step into this and start creating some cool little variations that you throw at yourself while you're looping this thing around. This brings me to the 4th step, which is make mistakes. Yep, that's right, guitar teacher here, encouraging you to make mistakes. Sometimes you really just got to go for it and try something out and see what works and what doesn't. And that's the important part. You're going to hit a wrong note, and hopefully you know that it's a wrong note and it doesn't sound quite right to you, and you'll learn to avoid that note in the future. But the key is to do this all while you're continuing to loop your main idea. Don't let that note, if you squelch one, don't let that note throw you off your game. Keep going and power through it. Here's an example. We can play our little groove. And I'll hit a wrong note. This one right here. All right, so I went for it, right? I got out of this little comfort zone that we've created for us. And I went here to this A flat, and it definitely didn't quite sound bluesy enough for us. Now it can work on the way to something else. But in that instance, it just kind of hung out there and didn't sound like it fit the rest of the vibe. And that's going to be up to you, and it will take time and practice to kind of tune up your ear and really feel what you're going for. But the key is, if you find a note that sounds sour, it sounds like it doesn't work, then avoid it. The next step is to change the chords. Now, we could follow a 12-bar blues pattern here, or you could keep it as simple as just changing from one chord to another. And to me, that's the key skill that I want you to build, the ability to shift from thinking about one chord, in our case E minor, over to another chord. Say A minor might be a next good logical place for us to go, and you can take your riff and move it into that different chord, and you want to take your scale thinking and move it to that different chord as well. There are other approaches of doing this, but try this one out as you're getting started. There's so much more to say about improvising. We've really just scratched the surface, and this is definitely a topic that we're going to talk more and more about on Tuesday Blues. But if you're new at this, I want this to be a really good sort of jumping off point for you. I want you to take either this idea or take something that you come up with on your own, work your way through these steps, and create a nice little one-person jam that hopefully helps you out, helps you feel a little bit better, and helps get the music outside and keep you creative. Thanks for checking out this video. If you dig it, I've got another one right here for you that you can keep learning, keep growing your acoustic blues skills. So click or tap right over there. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be safe and play on.